Hey guys, thanks for watching. Today's video is going to be another review video, and I have a lot of books to talk about because I haven't done one recently. But before I jump into that, I just want to say I really hope this video quality comes out okay. I record a fly in my office and it's driving me insane. I record in front of my big window in my office, and usually it's like bright and sunny when I record, and it just helps with the quality so I don't have bad lighting. We have had rainy, stormy, severe weather for what feels like a week. I mean, it probably has been a week, and I've looked at our forecast for the next few days. It's all cloudy and rain and gross, and I'm like, okay, but I really need to record a video. So I have the flash on the video, and then I have my office light on as well, which both those things I normally don't have on because it's usually so bright in my office. Hoping this turns out okay and I don't go blind from staring into this bright light after so long. But jump right in. The first book is called French Coast, and it is by Anita Hughes. By the time this video goes up, all my reviews will already be on Chicklet Plus, so I will link all of my reviews below because I'll try to make this a little bit of a faster video since I have so many books to talk about. I probably won't go as in depth into all of them. Anita Hughes is one of my favorite authors. If you haven't read anything by her, I highly suggest you do. I highly suggest French Coast. I absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 stars. Anita is an author who I think has such the ability to put you into her story and then take you on the journey with her characters. And French Coast was no exception. And I loved it because it has that chick lit feel to it. You know, it has a daughter of a politician who is about to marry up-and-coming politician himself. A scandal gets broke out, and she heads to the French coast for her job. And she gets to interview a very famous ex-editor of French Vogue. So there's a lot of fashion involved, which I think is a lot of fun. She meets someone along the way. She first meets a woman and befriends her, and there's kind of a mysterious part to this gal. Then she also meets a man, and there's a very big mystery with the man that she meets. Her family is kind of going through something. There's so much going on, and I don't really know how to say it, so I'm not giving anything away, but it was fantastic. And there was a part in the novel, kind of more towards the end, that I read it and I looked like this. To the point where I was sitting on the couch and my husband was on the chair watching TV, and he looks over at me and he's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, wait, what just happened in this book? So good. French Coast by Anita Hughes. If you haven't read anything by her, please do, and especially this one. I thought it was really great. The one that I reviewed is Irene in College by Lori Goldson. I'll be honest, and I saved this in my review too, the cover didn't exactly grab me. The cover didn't stick out to me or even really give me an idea of maybe what I was going to read. I won't say that I judge a book by the cover to the point where I won't read something if I don't think that I am going to enjoy it just based on the cover alone. But I do kind of go into the story with an idea. If I don't totally love the cover, I'm like, I might not love this book, but I always like to give everything a chance. And that's kind of how I felt with this book. And I'm really glad that this fly though, I am really glad that I gave it a chance because I actually ended up really enjoying the story. So we follow Irene, who is in college, if you kind of guessed that from the title. But she's kind of going through a lot with her family, especially with her mother, who is having some certain health issues. She has a relationship going on that maybe isn't quite the best thing for her. She has a friendship with a roommate that is kind of funny to read about because they're very different people, and they are really best friends and roommates, but they're so different. They're kind of like, how does this work? I thought that there were really funny moments in the book, but there were also very serious moments in the book. Domestic violence is touched on, mental health issues are talked about, so you kind of get a wide array of topics in this novel, and I thought that was very interesting. I thought it was very well written. I give Lori Goldson major kudos for how she wrote this book because I thought it was easy to follow. I thought it was very well paced, and I thought the characters were not one-dimensional characters. Even the couple of main characters that we kind of follow, not just Irene, but other people in her life too, they were all very well written. And so on a whole, I was very impressed with this book, and I gave it a 4-star review. And the next one that I read was The Silver Cord by Alison Caiola. And if you have seen some of my other videos where I talk about Alison and the first book in this series, which is The Seeds of a Daisy, you know that I was like super, super excited to read this book. And oh my gosh, I mean, I don't even really know where to start with this one because it is very different from The Seeds of a Daisy. So The Seeds of a Daisy making up my own words, basically follows a mother-daughter relationship in a very serious car accident. There's family secrets that get uncovered. So we follow Lily Lockwood, and it's, you know, her mother who's been in the accident, but we also follow her life as an actress and her as going through her relationships and, you know, trying to find that Mr. Right. She's dating an actor, she meets a doctor, all these sort of things. And then we pick up, I believe it's 2 years later, we pick up in The Silver Cord. And basically, so at the end of The Seeds of a Daisy, Lily falls in love with Robbie, who is a doctor, and he is going to be leaving. He works in like a Doctors with Borders type of association where he goes to not as well off countries and works there for like years at a time. He knew he was going to be gone for about 2 years. And then in this story, Robbie has been kidnapped, and there's a whole like terrorist theme throughout the book, and Lily gets involved, and they're trying to save him from these terrorists. And I mean, it was a totally different story from the first book, and honestly, it's not quite what I expected. I read the blurb and was kind of like, okay, so terrorists, kidnapping, that's interesting. I wonder what's going to happen. But I don't think I like quite fully expected what we were going to get. And I mean, it does go into some pretty gruesome details about what happens to Robbie while he is a prisoner and being held captive. And there's a lot of like the CIA is involved and Navy SEALs. And I'm reading this, and it was like an action book. It was so much fun to read about. I told Alison, you know, that I thought her book was so well researched, and in my point of view, I thought it was very well written. You know, I'm not totally up to date on the CIA and the Navy SEALs and how things go about but from as a reader's point of view, I thought everything flowed really well, everything made sense to me, and I absolutely love it. And I gave her so much props for writing this book because I just thought it was so much fun to read. It literally was like a chick lit adventure book. So awesome. So that is The Silver Cord by Alison Caiola. I gave it 5 stars along with the first one in the series, which is The Seeds of a Daisy. I highly recommend both of those. The next one that I read is from Nicky Wells, and it's called 7 Years Bad Sex. And Nicky, I will say that I pretty much consider Nicky a friend. We have worked together in a book setting for years. I'm pretty sure I've read all of her books. I think she is such a fabulous writer. She's so much fun to talk to online. I really hope one day, like, she's someone who I would just absolutely love to meet. If you haven't read anything by Nicky, I highly suggest you do because her chick lit books are so much fun to read. And she sent me the information on 7 Years Bad Sex, and I thought, okay. And I kind of thought I was going to read about a couple that struggles in their marriage for 7 years, and it would kind of take us through their 7 years of marriage and how much they're struggling and all this kind of thing. It's not like that at all. No, it's not like that at all. I will say there is a lot of sex in the book, so this is definitely for a more mature audience only, and I'll try not to get too detailed in my review here, but it basically follows a couple who gets married, and once they get married, they can't have sex. On their wedding night, they're just too tired and they just can't do it, literally. And they go to sleep, and then there's all these crazy things that happen for why they can't seem to have sex. Like seasickness is one of them. That's kind of a funny part of the story. And there's just little things that keep getting in the way. People interrupting them, people getting sick. In one scene that I found was really funny, she tries to wear a costume for him, thinking it would like kind of help their situation, and it turns out she's allergic to like the rubber latex that she's wearing and ends up in the hospital, and that's kind of funny. He tries taking pills that he gets off the internet, and of course that ends badly. But there's one scene where I was laughing so hard because the bed broke and the roof was caving in and the bathtub was going through the floor. And I remember I was in the bathroom, and this is in my review. I'm in the bathroom doing my eye makeup, well, my makeup in general, and reading because I like to multitask. And I was laughing so hard, I smudged my eyeliner all over my face because it was one of the funniest scenes that I've read. And so I put that in my review, and Nicky caught that real fast. And when she was tweeting about the review, she made sure to put that part in there because I was like, seriously, you ruined my makeup, girlfriend. It is super funny. It is, it can get graphic at times because it basically is a book about people trying to have sex and the things that they do. So I do recommend that you be older to read this book, but it's really funny. I highly recommend it along with any of Nicky's books because she's such a good writer and she is super funny. The next one that I read is The Art of Baking Blind, and this is by Sarah Vaughan. And this was a book that, from reading like the very first chapter, the very few first pages, I was like, yes, I'm gonna like this book, and this is gonna be hard to put down. And it was. It's definitely a foodie book, which I've mentioned in my videos before that like I'm a huge fan of foodie books, even though I can't bake or cook to save my life. This book definitely made me want to try to bake, and I got on Pinterest while I was reading the book. I got like a big Pinterest itch and went on and was like pinning all these crazy recipes that I know I'll never be able to do in my lifetime, but that's what the book did to me. It made me want to try. It was very interesting because it follows a baking competition and all of the competitors in the competition, and kind of covers their backstories, why they want to be in the competition, what their home life is like, and that sort of thing. But then what I really loved is the baking competition that they're in is to find the new Mrs. Eden. She definitely was like an icon, and in the book she has passed away, and they're trying to find the new Mrs. Eden. So that is what the baking competition is for. We follow several women, and then there's a man in the competition as well, but we don't really get a lot of his backstory. It's mostly only the women that we're learning about, and so we follow it that way, and it's divided into sections onto each part of the baking competition that they're doing. And the part that I think that I kind of liked the most was that we also get point of views from Mrs. Eden, or her first name is Kathleen. Every once in a while she has a little part in there, and you slowly start to piece together what her life was like. And she's known as this like perfect icon with her perfect family, with her perfect career, with her perfect life. And as you read through it, obviously she doesn't have that. She had a lot of struggles with being able to have children and suffering through many miscarriages. And towards the end, we learn something about her family life and about her children that really caught me off guard. It very much surprised me, but I absolutely loved it. I have a real fondness for books that take place in the past and the present, and we can move between them. And that's exactly what this book delivered, and I thought that was great. My only problem with it is that we were kind of following so many different women who have different lives. I kind of got them mixed up every once in a while, and I would think like Jenny was Karen, but maybe Karen was Vicky, and I was like, wait, what? Is she the one with the no? And that was my only part that sometimes it kind of tripped me up and I had to like really think about who I was reading about. But I gave it a 4.5-star review on Chicklet Plus, and I highly recommend it. I really, really enjoyed it. So that's The Art of Baking Blind by Sarah Vaughan. And the next one I have, this is going to be the last one I'm going to go through, but this is called Deadly Race, and it's by Elke Feuer. Feuer? I don't know if I'm saying that right, actually, now that I think of it. I just go ahead and say it, and then I'm like, oh, I don't know if that's right. But this is book 2 in the Deadly series, and I have read the first one, which is called Deadly Bloodlines, and I really loved it, and I was excited to read Deadly Race. And the books take place in the Cayman Islands, which is where Elke is from, which I just think is so cool. They are very much mystery books, and this one this book follows Remy, a female, and she really wants to be a race car driver. And the book kind of follows her struggles as being accepted as a female race car driver and kind of the issues that she goes with along with that. But then, of course, the mystery starts almost right away with the owner of the race car track being shot and killed. And Remy is basically being framed for it. She gets arrested for it because the murder weapon is found in her car. The book follows Remy not only trying to clear her name, but trying to find out who did it and trying to save the race car track now in the Cayman Islands because no one wants to lose that. And what I really enjoyed about this novel, it's very quick. I read it in, I think, a day. I mean, it didn't take me long to read it at all. It was very fast. It was very well written. It was very suspenseful, so you wanted to keep reading. But what I liked is at the end, I thought I had figured out the mystery, and I thought it was just going to be wrapped up and we were just going to get a nice little ending, and it turned out not to be like that. I actually was wrong, and there was more to the story, and you just had to keep reading to figure it all out. Jackson is kind of Remy's love interest in the book, and he also has some scenes in the first book, so it was neat to see how they tied together. So far, I'm really enjoying. I know there is a third book coming from this series, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to read it because I have a soft side for mysteries as well, especially ones that aren't like super gory, bloody, like, no, I don't really like those as much. But these kind of mysteries I really enjoy. Like, yes, there's murder and all that, but it doesn't go into like the specifics of that stuff, because then I'll just have nightmares. Mystery series, if you are mystery fans, I would recommend that you check them out. So that was Deadly Race by Elke Feuer, and I give it 4.5 stars on Chicklet Plus. So those are all the books. I don't even know how many I did, like 6 or 7 maybe. So those are the ones that I'm reviewing. If you check in the description box below, I will have my links to my full reviews on Chicklet Plus the Amazon links for them as well if you do want to check any of them out. If you like this video and you want to see some more review videos, please give this a thumbs up. I will try to be making them as fast as I can. Hopefully the weather improves so I don't have to make another video in the dark. I really hope you guys can see me in this video, and that's all I have. So until next time, thanks so much for watching. Bye guys.